So most of 49ers discourse is revolving around Brock Purdy, scheduled to undergo surgery on February 22nd, and Trey Lance, who should be fully cleared in about, 2 or 3 weeks at this point. By the end of the month, Trey Lance expects to be fully cleared in time for the 49ers off-season program. And the question is, if Brock Purdy does return fully healthy in time for training camp or around then, does Trey Lance have a legitimate shot to be the 49ers starting quarterback? And to that, I answer yes, but Brock Purdy would definitely have the inside track. And we could talk about what Trey Lance would have to show this offseason to make up some ground to give himself that legitimate shot come training camp at QB1. But, first things first, consider the fact that Lance was QB1 to enter this last season. But he didn't necessarily have to earn it, right? The 49ers invested so much in Trey Lance, those 3 first-round picks, obviously picking him in the top 5 of the draft. They invested so much in Lance that there had to be at least one season in which they thrust him into QB1 just to wait and see what he had. And he didn't win a competition over Jimmy Garoppolo. Garoppolo was working off on the side field. The 49ers didn't even expect to have him on the team at the time that Lance was in training camp last year. So that's the way that last season started. Then Lance got hurt. Jimmy took over. After Jimmy took over, Jimmy got hurt. Brock Purdy took over. It was Brock Purdy's body of work over the course of the 2022 season that changed the dynamic of the 49ers' future plans. And now Trey Lance is going to have to change him back through the work that he does from this point forward. But you've heard George Kittle talk about it. You've heard multiple players talk about it. All of those wins, and Purdy didn't lose a single game that he finished healthy for the 49ers. He was undefeated. All those wins, all that efficiency, that off-schedule ability, the fact that, the job wasn't too big for him, the fact that he, delivered better in a game. He showed he was a gamer than he did in practice, and Kyle Shanahan was pretty damn happy with how he followed the script in practice. Brock Purdy doing all of that earned the trust and respect of the 49ers locker room to the point where guys like Kittle are saying, it's going to take a lot to unseat him. If he's healthy, he's the de facto number 1 guy. If Lance wants to make up that ground this offseason, then Lance is going to have to be better in the short game. That's been timing in the short game is everything for Trey Lance. I actually like a lot of the pocket presence that he's shown. I actually like a lot of the, he's had a feel, I think, for some of the rushes that have come his way. Just go and put on his very first action against Seattle back in 2021. Really good pocket feel down the stretch of that game. We know that he's got the arm strength. You could talk about the spiral or lack thereof. A lot of that is just cosmetic stuff, though. What is really important is what necessarily isn't noticed by fans or people watching the TV copy of these games. And this is what's really important to Kyle Shanahan. And that is delivering the ball on time in the short game to set up yards after the catch. And it has to be on time and it has to be accurate within the rhythm of the offense. And this goes back to Lance's relative lack of experience and the fact that Purdy has a lot of experience, the 4 years of college ball coming in, Lance obviously coming out of North Dakota State. This is something where Lance has always needed refinement, and the 49ers will hope that he shows the necessary refinement this offseason. On time, on schedule in the short game, and boom, if he's able to do that, if he's able to process that and translate it into training camp, and then even translate it onto the playing field, all of a sudden Trey Lance is in play to be the 49ers starting quarterback. It's a big jump that he has to make, but it's one that the 49ers obviously believed he could and would make when they traded up to draft him at number 3. So I think that's the one thing that Trey Lance has to work on. If Brock Purdy is healthy by training camp, obviously, big if at this point, that's what Lance would have to do to thrust himself firmly back into that 50-50 mix at starting, because right now stuff definitely favors Brock Purdy. But let me tell you something. In the big picture, the 49ers just finished the season where they didn't have a single healthy quarterback by the time it ended. And when that happens, you want to enter the next season with as many capable QB options as possible. So even if Purdy is QB1 and is healthy by the time this finishes, what we just saw happen out on the field for the 49ers indicates they're going to need more than just Brock Purdy to survive 2023. You want a deep QB room. And I think that any progress Trey Lance can make as the guy this offseason while Purdy is out is going to be beneficial for the 49ers in 2023, even if Brock Purdy ends up being QB1, because we just saw the value of a deep QB room illustrated. So that's how the 49ers are viewing this. They're not worried about 1 and 2 right now. They want as many good, quality, healthy quarterbacks as possible. And this offseason is going to be about developing Trey Lance's short game, developing all those nuances of offensive command accuracy so that he can bolster that quarterback room in whatever which way come fall.